What is up, guys? Today I wanted to bring you guys up to date on what I've been playing, what gear I have and don't have, and basically just how I set up my Invoker. This isn't necessarily a build guide, but if you want to try out the setup I have, by all means, I'll walk you through the gear and skills that I'm currently running. As for the name, Just the Tip, you'll notice watching the footage, if you hit most enemies with just the tip of the charge staff, the whole screen explodes, making this build a number of things. One, it's very easy to map with. Given the range, you can kill most monsters without getting very close. Two, it's very quick to map with. Although I recently sacrificed Shattering Palm. If you haven't used the Palm skills, they are very nice for moving around the map. There are, however, 3 drawbacks to Shattering Palm and its relatives. It takes targeting an enemy to actually use the skills, and then it essentially teleports you right into the mobs, which can be pretty risky. And lastly, it takes a skill slot, which is quite a commodity, as you'll see when we're looking at the skills. In short, this build runs a lot of auras, which takes up several of the available skill slots. I've considered trying to find a decent unset ring to replace one of my current rings. If you don't know, the unset ring grants 1 additional skill slot. I thought this might be kind of fun to play around with. Okay, before I jump into gear, I just want to premise this by saying this is essentially a culmination of knowledge from several known builds. What I've done is taken ideas from several builds and forced them together. It's by no means the cheapest, it's by no means the easiest, or most powerful setup out there. If anything, I think it falls into the ease of use category, because I'm not doing weapon swaps or any of the fancy chaos inoculation or anything like that. I would like to give credit to Rax because that was my starting point for the kit. From there I used ideas prevalent in the community. I'm not sure who to give credit for. With that out of the way, here's my gear as it sits now. I'm still trying to find upgrades for every slot, but who isn't, right? I don't have anything fancy or surprising in the kit. Quarterstaff is decent. I would like to get a staff with more crit chance, and critical strike damage bonus, as well as better rolls overall. A lot of the gear I have is still focused on survival. I've added some magic find, or rarity as they call it, but I'm sitting right at about 90% currently. If I carry this build on further, I'm gonna go to the dark side, grab chaos inoculation, and drop all this chaos resist stacking bullshit. This will make getting upgrades much easier. Also, I'm running in the Hand of Wisdom in action because it's so fucking good you can't believe it. I actually dropped my pair while running the Breach boss, which is pretty cool. I was even pricing them at the time, trying to get a decent pair for cheap. I still need to upgrade to a Corrupted set, but they are quite a good DPS boost, even without really stat stacking. This is another thing I haven't really talked about, but although I have some dex and ints stacked, it's not really been a focus. I imagine attack speed from the passive tree and the gloves is probably insane at some point if you stack enough. That is another avenue of the build I'd like to pursue. Gear-wise, my next upgrade would likely be strong breach rings, and add ingenuity belt to bolster the rings. For skills, I don't think I've deviated from Rax's final Ice Invoker build. I do however want to add the last socket to the Tempest build and add Font of Rage. This will help burst down bosses a lot faster. I'm not doing any skill swaps for bossing. Even the pinnacle bosses, they don't really pose any serious threat. It does take more than 1 bell, but I'm okay with that for this build. I kept this build as close to 1 button as possible, for farming maps and general simplicity. I'm at a point where I want to switch things up and try new things, but it feels stable and I'm confident with its survivability and strength. Through the use of Grim Feast, Energy Shield is boosted greatly, and is an invaluable skill for staying alive. This is the skill I recently added when I sacked Shattering Palm. One last thing I want to add about the skills is the synergy between the heralds is very important. Without this setup and doing enough threshold damage to proc it, you would need to run the unique ring that allows you to shatter chilled enemies. That's something to keep in mind. Anyways, Invoker Monk, or as I like to call it, Spiritborn, is a very strong ascendancy that might find its way to the chopping block for nerfs, if it doesn't watch out. Have fun and stay safe. my friends.